It's the news at 3 on ASO Television. I am Rosemary Kokotega. Many thanks for joining us. The headlines. President Tinubu advocates constitutional reform to enable state police forces. Nigeria First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu to attend 750 capacity building commissioning of Christian Chapel on March 1, 2026. FCT Minister of State says health is central to President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. On business, Nigeria Revenue Service announces 40.7 trillion naira as target for taxes, royalty, other minerals in 2026. President Bola Tinubu has formally asked the Senate to commence the process of amending the 1999 Constitution as amended to provide for the establishment of state police, declaring that Nigeria must urgently restructure its security architecture to effectively tackle terrorism, banditry, and insurgency. Speaking during an interfaith iftar with leadership and members of the Senate at the State House, Abuja, the President urged lawmakers to begin embedding state policing in the Constitution to enable subnational governments assume greater responsibility for securing their territories. The appeal reinforces the campaign the President has sustained since assuming office. In February 2024, at an emergency meeting with the 36 state governors, he approved formation of a joint federal state committee to examine modalities for state policing, insisting the country must move aggressively to safeguard lives and property. He reiterated a call in November 2025, urging the National Assembly to review relevant laws to allow willing states and neighborhoods establish their own policing structures. At the APC National Caucus meeting in December 2025, the President again pressed governors and lawmakers to support constitutional reforms to advance state police and local government autonomy. Only days earlier, at a similar interfaith engagement with governors at the presidential villa, President Tinubu declared that state police can't wait and will not be postponed, underscoring what he described as a necessary shift in Nigeria's security framework. At Wednesday's meeting with senators, the President framed the proposed reform as a constitutional duty rooted in unity and shared responsibility. Acting Inspector General of Police Olatunji Disu says the days of impunity within Nigeria Police Force is over, promising firm accountability and sweeping reforms. Disu made the declaration on Wednesday during the official handing and taking over ceremony held at the IGP Conference Hall Force Headquarters, Abuja. Our correspondent Richard Alechenu has the story.
In his address to officers, dignitaries, as well as invited guests, Disu, the 23rd indigenous IGP, acknowledged the enormous responsibility placed on his shoulders and vowed not to take the trust reposed in him lightly. He acknowledged the force's courage and professionalism, but did not shy away from uncomfortable truths, a trust deficit with communities, outdated systems, resource gaps, and pockets of misconduct that have stained the badge. The acting IGP anchored his tenure on 3 pillars and vowed to push intelligence-led policing, forensic investigation, and digital tools, assuring officers and men of the force of improved leadership and support.
By the grace of Almighty God, I have been placed in this office to lead you faithfully, honestly, and to serve our great nation. It is pleasantly gratifying to know that our service has immense capacity that's readily available for deployment to combat the contemporary threats to national security. My tenure will therefore be built on 3 clear commitments: professionalism, modernism, accountability, integrity, community partnership, and trust. To all officers, I will demand the best from you, because the people we serve deserve nothing less. Integrity, compassion, courage, these are not optional qualities. They are the job. But I make this promise in return. I will fight for your welfare, your dignity, and the conditions you need to serve effectively.
In his farewell speech, the outgoing IGP, Kayode Egbetokun, warned against cosmetic change, insisting the police must build on intelligence-led policing, digital crime tracking, modernized tactics, and tougher internal accountability. He appreciated President Bola Tinubu for the confidence reposed in him and charged his successor to consolidate on the gains achieved by his administration.
As I hand over to my successor, the one chosen among the best, I do so with confidence in his competence, experience, and strategic capacity. The foundation has been reinforced, the system recalibrated, the reform trajectory clearly defined. All these he has been part of. I charge him to consolidate these gains to deepen intelligence integration, expand technological modernization, strengthen accountability systems, and entrench community-centered policing as enduring doctrine. Institutional progress must not pause, it must accelerate.
High point of the event was the official transfer of symbols of authority between the outgoing IGP and his successor. Richard Alechenwanyebe, ASO Television News.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the extension of the ban on export of raw shea nuts for another 1 year from February 26, 2026 to February 25, 2027. The decision underscores the administration's commitment to advancing industrial development, strengthening domestic value addition, and supporting the objectives of Renewed Hope agenda. According to a statement issued by the presidential spokesman Bayo Onanuga, the ban aims to deepen processing capacity within Nigeria, enhancing livelihoods in shea-producing communities, and promote the growth of Nigerian exports anchored on value-added products. Onanuga said to further these objectives, President Tinubu authorized the two ministers of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment and the Presidential Food Security Coordination Unit to coordinate the implementation of a unified, evidence-based national framework that aligns with industrialization, trade and investment priorities across the shea nut value chain. The statement added that President Tinubu approved the adoption of an export framework established by the Nigerian Commodity Exchange and the withdrawal of all waivers allowing the direct export of raw shea nuts. The President directed that any excess supply of raw shea nuts should be exported exclusively through the NCX framework in accordance with the approved guidelines. Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, alongside former head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, retired former Presidents Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Jonathan are to attend the commissioning and dedication of a 750 capacity Christian chapel at the National Assembly on Sunday, March 1, 2026. The Christian Legislators Fellowship of the National Assembly announced this on Tuesday via a statement jointly signed by the President, Senator Binos Yaure, and Secretary Mr. Bamidele Salam, and made available to newsmen. Other eminent Nigerians across states are to also attend the event, which marks a significant milestone for the Christian community within the National Assembly, strengthening a spiritual fellowship among Christian legislators and staff. The non-denominational chapel project was initiated in May 2029 during the leadership of former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mr. Yakubu Dogara, conceived as a dedicated place of worship, fellowship and prayer for Christian lawmakers and staff of the National Assembly. Minister of State for FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, says health is central to President Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. A statement by her media aide, Austin Lemois, said she said this at the APC Medical Council's inaugural National Health Convention in Abuja, highlighting ongoing reforms to boost primary health care and health insurance. Dr. Mahmood emphasized the administration's commitment to strengthening healthcare delivery, promoting policies that enhance Nigeria's well-being. She urged participants to focus on practical solutions to accelerate universal health coverage, affirming the government's support for collaborative efforts to improve healthcare access and quality. The event aimed to address health challenges and improve maternal and child health outcomes. The Commandant General of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Professor Abubakar Ahmed Audi, has emphasized that environmental risk management remains a vital component of the Corps responsibility, especially as communities continue to face threats as flooding, pollution, and other environmental hazards. Professor Audi stated this on Wednesday during an event to commemorate this year's World Civil Defense Day with a public lecture focused on environmental safety in residential communities. We bring you that report in our subsequent bulletin. Now you can watch ASO Television on GSTV 392, StarTimes TV 127, Free TV 507 on the UHF band on channel 38. Coming up in the bulletin after this timeout, Nigeria Revenue Service announces 40.7 trillion naira as target for taxes, royalty, other minerals in 2026. Stay with us.
10 singles step into the love pad where love isn't just found, it's tested.
Moving along. I'm exploring.
Lines blur, desire takes over, and jealousy hits harder than any storm.
I'm jealous, and that's not something I hide.
The book.
Some find romance they've waited for their whole lives, and where there's love, there's bound to be heartbreak. In the love pad, every heartbeat counts, but in the end, who will find true love?
You're watching ASO Television News at 3. Remember, you can also join us via all our social media handle, Facebook, YouTube, and others. The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has arrested 2 notorious armed robbery and murder suspects allegedly responsible for the murder of a security guard on duty, Ishako Marcos, and the cutting away of valuables from a residence in Asokoro, Abuja. This was made known by the spokesperson SP Josephine Ade, who noted that the arrest followed a complaint that armed robbers broke into the Asokoro residence in January 2026, murdered a security guard on duty, and carted away an unspecified amount of cash, a vehicle, and other valuables. She said following the report, police operatives attached to FCT Police Command Scorpion Squad launched an intelligence-led operation to apprehend the suspects. She noted that between 12th and 19th February 2026, the operation led to the arrest of 2 principal suspects, Amechi Edemba, male 46 years, and Kelechi Nwokoro, male 48, in connection with the incident. The statement also disclosed that preliminary investigations revealed that Kelechi Nwokoro was formerly employed as a security guard by the complainant, but was disengaged from service in January 2026 due to negligence while on duty, adding that driven by resentment over his dismissal, he conspired with Amechi Edemba and recruited 4 additional accomplices from Nasarawa State to execute the robbery. The police spokesperson further noted that, leveraging his prior knowledge of the premises, Kelechi disabled the CCTV surveillance system and cut off the electricity supply before leading the armed gang into the residence, noting that the suspects were confronted by the security guard on duty, Ishako Marcos, but they overpowered and strangled him to death before cutting away cash, jewelry, laptops, wrappers, and a silver Toyota Camry along with other valuables. The statement further revealed that upon their arrest, the stolen vehicle and other exhibits were recovered, and efforts are ongoing to track down and apprehend the remaining members of the gang who are currently at large. A member of the House of Representatives from Edo State, Chief Billy Osawaro, has described as malicious and false the allegations that former Anambra State Governor and Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, and members of his political camp were attacked by Edo State government officials or thugs sponsored by the governor of Edo State or its officials. The member, while addressing newsmen on Thursday at the National Assembly, urged his colleague and others to refrain from what he described as baseless and politically motivated narrative. He said while he and the people of Edo State are not dismissing the seriousness of the attack, they would guard against any attempt to smear the governor with baseless allegations.
It is unfair to link the governor to this attack without concrete evidence. We have seen no credible evidence to support these allegations, and it is our position that such claims are baseless and politically motivated. The governor has nothing to gain from such an attack, and it is telling that those making these allegations have failed to provide any substance to back their claims.
The lawmaker urged the public, the ADC and his colleagues to focus on facts, not fiction, stressing that while Obi has every right to visit Edo anywhere, there is the need to note security concerns.
Let's not politicize this issue. The people of Edo deserve peace and stability, not baseless allegations and inflammatory rhetoric. Therefore, what we demand is a thorough investigation, and we are confident it will clear Governor Okpebholo's name. We call on all parties to allow the investigation to run its course and to refrain from making statements that could prejudice the outcome.
It would be recalled that on Tuesday, 24th of February 2026, the former presidential candidate of Labour Party, His Excellency Peter Obi, erstwhile national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief John Odigi Oyegun, and some chieftains of the African Democratic Congress ADC were allegedly attacked by suspected gunmen in Edo State. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has presented a proposed 184.39 billion naira 2026 budget to the Senate and House of Representatives Committees on Aviation at the National Assembly. Keyamo said the proposal is aimed at modernizing safety systems, upgrading digital infrastructure, and strengthening human capacity development across Nigeria's aviation sector. He reaffirmed the ministry's commitment to improving operational efficiency and regulatory compliance in line with global best practices, highlighting the 2025 achievements despite funding challenges. The minister noted that the federal government cleared outstanding debts owed to foreign airlines, secured compliance with the Cape Town Convention, reopened direct flights to the United Arab Emirates, commenced Abuja Heathrow direct operations by a local carrier, and established the National Aircraft Leasing Company. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, Buhari Abdul Fatai, stressed the need for transparency and proper project execution, while House Committee Chairman Festus Olariwaju urged that the budget implementation should be people-focused and drive infrastructure development. The Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has taken steps to boost transparency and efficiency in charter flight operations with plans to introduce a new charter operations system known as COS. The proposed digital platform was presented by Avitech at the authority's headquarters in Abuja during a strategic meeting convened by the Director of Air Transport and Regulations, Mrs. Olayinka Babaoye Iriogbe. The system is designed to provide real-time monitoring of charter operations nationwide, create a centralized database for operators and regulators, automate invoicing and billing, and ensure accurate computation of the statutory 5% charter sales charge. Director General of Civil Aviation, Chris Najumo, says the initiative will enhance regulatory oversight, improve productivity, and promote transparency across the charter segment of the aviation industry. He has directed the Directorate of Air Transport and Regulations to organize a broader stakeholders engagement session to ensure smooth adoption and effective implementation of the new system. The mandate secretary of the Federal Capital Territory Administration's FCDA's Health Services and Environment Secretariat, Dr. Adedolapo Fashewe, has offered free health insurance enrollments to 150 members of the Nigeria Union of Journalists, the NUJFCT Council. Permanent Secretary of the Secretariat, Dr. Babagana Adam, also pledged sponsorship of an additional 50 members in memory of his late brother, Mohammed Al-Khali, who was a former head of press and public relations unit in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. In all, a total of 203 health insurance enrollments were offered to members of the NUG FCT Council during a courtesy visit by executive of the NUG FCT Council and officials of the Secretariat at the FCTA Area 11, Abuja. The mandate secretary, Dr. Fashere, said the gesture is part of ongoing efforts to expand affordable healthcare access and promote universal health coverage in line with the Federal Capital Territory. She described the media as a critical partner in health promotion and public enlightenment, expressing certainty that informed journalists who benefit from the scheme will in turn amplify awareness about the importance of health insurance. In his remarks, the Permanent Secretary, Dr. Adam, called for stronger public-private partnerships to expand the coverage. He noted how poor remuneration in parts of the media industry affects objectivity and underscored the need to support journalists' welfare. Responding, Chairman of the NUG FCT Council, Comrade Grace Ike, commended the FCT health insurance scheme for expanding access, reducing out-of-pocket expenses, and promoting inclusive healthcare. She reaffirmed the union's commitment to promoting public awareness of health insurance benefits and advocating improved service delivery. She called for sustained collaboration to combat misinformation, boost enrollment drives, and ensure healthcare becomes a right rather than a privilege for all FCT residents. The Executive Chairman of Nigeria Revenue Service, NRS, Mr. Zak Adedeji, has announced 40.7 trillion naira as the total target for taxes, royalty, and other minerals in 2026 in the light of tax reforms. The NRS chairman made the announcement when the presidential economic team comprising Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, Atiku Bagudu, appeared before the House Committee on Appropriation to discuss performance of the 2025 budget and the proposal for 2026. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Edun, and that of Budget and National Planning, Senator Bagudu, provided more explanations on different components of the budget.
So for the year 2025, the revenue target for the service was 25.2 trillion naira, an increase of 3.5 trillion compared to actual revenue collected in 2024. The service has exceeded the 2025 target by collecting 28.23 trillion. This is due to exceptional performance from non-oil taxes, as shown in the table that I have here. The document will surely be distributed. So non-oil taxes exceeded their target by collecting 21.46 trillion. An increase of 3.4 trillion against the target, which is 90%. Meanwhile, oil taxes fell short of the target by 5.2%. Overall, the service exceeded its target by 3 trillion, which is 12% compared to the target we have for 2025. When you compare 2025 performance to 2024, the service collected 6.5 trillion more than what we did in 2024. That is an increase of 30.3%.
In November 2025, FGN revenue performance was approximately 60% prorated to 37.13 trillion. That's not as of September, as was reported by His Excellency Mr. President. The figures are updated now till November. And that was a shortfall on the budget. And that stemmed largely from underperformance of oil and gas revenue.
The 2026 budget, as far as we know from the Ministry of Budget and Budget Office, contain all those agreements that were that the executive side agreed with the National Assembly. Secondly, on the budget performance figures, Ministry of Budget and Planning, including of course the Budget Office, relies on the Office of the Accountant General and in so doing the Ministry of Finance for data about budget implementation. So any data we receive is based on disbursement data that has been given to us by the Ministry of Budget.
Chairman House Committee on Appropriations, Mr. Bubakar Bichi, said the session was necessary to determine any further legislative input on the 2026 appropriation bill.
We also decided to engage the chairman of NRS to shed more light about the revenues in terms of the 2026 projections. As we are all aware that 2025, we have achieved almost 28 trillion from our revenue, which is beyond to 25 trillion as targeted in the 2025. And of course, we passed tax laws. We believe that even the projection 40 trillion, we need to have more information from you so that Nigerians can see how important that laws we have done in National Assembly.
The session, the lawmaker added, was to also afford Nigerians the needed information, especially as with the workings of tax laws newly produced by the legislature and assented to by President Tinubu. Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC) has reaffirmed its commitment to building a sustainable non-oil export sector capable of contributing significantly to national economic growth. Executive Director of NEPC, Mrs. Nonye Ayeni, stated this while receiving participants of Strategic Management and Policy Studies course from the Nigeria Army Resource Center at its corporate headquarters in Abuja. The NEPC chief outlined the council's mandate and core functions, describing it as federal government's apex agency for promoting and diversifying Nigeria's economy from overdependence on oil. A statement signed by NEPC's head of corporate communications, Mr. Aliyu Sadiq, showed that the NEPC boss expressed the council's readiness to extend its curriculum to the Nigeria Army Resource Center to broaden participation in the export ecosystem. Responding, the team leader, Professor K. Ikechukwu, commended the NEPC management for hosting the delegation and equipping participants with practical export knowledge. He explained that the visit formed part of the course requirement for participants to engage key government agencies and assess policy implementation as it relates to sustainable development and national security. Now, a quick reminder of one of our headline stories. President Bola Tinubu has formally asked the Senate to commence the process of amending the 1999 Constitution as amended to provide for the establishment of state police, declaring that Nigeria must urgently restructure its security architecture to effectively tackle terrorism, banditry, and insurgency. Many thanks for watching the news. I am Rosemary Kokotega. There is news at 7. Join us then.